Okay, so remember when I told you we're going to be doing this thing 3 days a week? What if I told 30 for 30? What if I told you that when Rodney ALLaBorde of ALLaBorde Raiders told you he was going to do this 3 days a week, he got the worst flu of his entire life and had to just sort of sit in his bed forever? That's what happened. I got sick. I still recorded some of these while I was sick. I don't think I'm sick anymore. I have an antibiotic. Ever heard of it? Probably should go to the doctor when you feel sick. I'm one of those people that's like, doctor, I hardly know her. But then I just stay sick. So it's like, all right, go to the doctor, you loser idiot. Because more often than not, they probably can help you. So I went, and I feel good. I won't say I feel great. Can't wait, one clap. Anybody know what that is? In reference to former Raider, I guess. We'll talk about some former wide receiver Raiders in a second. But first of all, welcome so much. Welcome so much. It's been a little bit. I have a lot of energy. This is going to be an absolute banger of an episode. Welcome. Thank you so much for coming back and watching another video. My name is Rodney. If you knew that, thanks. That means at least you're hate watching, but maybe you're love watching. And by the way, share this with your friends. I'm a big fan of John Middlecoff. He has a podcast. He says, share with your friends, share with your enemies. Share with everybody you know and love and hate. Because a view is a view. That's the funny thing about people like disliking and giving hate comments, which sort of just bounce right off my chest. But they do that like, I'm going to get them. And it's like, you're helping the algorithm, the algae. Thank you. Come again. We're going to talk about the Raiders. A couple housekeeping things before we start. Comment away, because if you know this, I take some comments from this video, put them in the beginning, at the end of the next video. So we got 3 comments lined up to talk about at the end of this video from my Monday Bleacher Report live stream. We're going to be talking about the Telesco / AP of it all. I want to get into Mark Davis, Tom Brady, Davante Adams. There's a lot to discuss. The draft is coming up. Make sure we're hitting the like button, subscribing. We got to 11,000. Why not get to like 10 million? Is that possible? We'll see. My challenge to you is to get me to 10 million subscribers by the end of the day. If we hit it, I'll bungee jump and record it. That's in one day, not like in my lifetime. But a lot has happened since I looked death's door in the face or whatever it is. And we're going to discuss it right now. There's a lot of reports, a lot of stuff being said about Telesco and Pierce. And look, usually this is Rumorville Central. Coaches potentially getting fired, GMs getting fired. Are we trading up? Who are we drafting? Blah, blah, blah. However, this came right from the horse's mouth. I wanted to say something else, but I will say mouth. Mark Davis. And this is, I'm going to read a Sports Illustrated article. We're going to get into this whole thing. It starts out, this is the title of the article. Mark Davis has vague timelines for his head coach, GM, and Tom Brady. So we're going to get into all this. I've got scorching hot takes about Mark Davis that a lot of people are not going to like. But here's the thing. I'm not here to be your friend. I would like to be. That would be awesome. To anyone who's watching, I'm sure we'd be great friends. But I'm here to tell you how I feel and to give an unbiased opinion on this whole thing. And a lot of people have a lot of negative things to say about Mark Davis. And I've got some negative things too. We'll put a pin in that in a second. The article starts. When was this? December today. This was December today. The annual NFL owners meeting gives the media an opportunity to hear from owners not named Jerry Jones, because he talks every single day of his life. In this case, Las Vegas Raiders owner Mark Davis. He addressed 3 high-profile issues in the organization. Head coach Antonio Pierce, general manager Tom Telesco, and co-owner. Wow, we're calling him co-owner Tom Brady. I love it. If anyone is mad about this still, go take a shower. The coldest shower you've ever taken. Blah, 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 blah. Brady is currently broadcasting games for Fox, so he's not involved in the day-to-day operation. Davis doesn't foresee Brady having a formal role until his Fox contract expires after the 2033 NFL season. Okay. Here's a quote. When Tom was hired as an analyst for Fox, I promised Fox that we would not get in the way of Tom's job, and he's going to be one of the best announcers in the game, Davis said. Anything he does with the Raiders will be in the future. As far as that goes, obviously I talk to him all the time, and his input is greatly valued and will always be valued. We'll see as time goes on how his role evolves. Very smart, Mark. Don't want to ruffle any feathers with the league. Davis has a slightly shorter timetable. We'll get back to the Tom Brady of it all, but this is what I want to talk about. Davis has a slightly shorter timetable for coach and GM, but he doesn't sound like he's ready for that either. While Davis says you can point the finger at him for the team's 2-11 start, you should also know that the guys he hired haven't been doing a great job. This is this quote from Mark Davis, and I'll get into this in a second too. I want to talk about AP and Tom Telesco right off the rip, but this is a very important quote from Mark Davis. Quote, there's a misconception that I'm making a lot of decisions on the football field, but I continue to tell y'all that I do not. I delegate to the people who I hire. I give them goals. And then I get out of the way and let them try to do it and let the results speak for themselves. At this point, obviously, we're not happy, but you have to go through the season and then we'll reevaluate. Right now, I'm not in the position of evaluating anything going forward. Okay. And then there was that Deshaun Reed tweet where he asked him, like, how are you going to evaluate AP and Mark Davis? And he said, we're going to do it separately. So, there's a bunch of things I want to say about this. The first thing is this. Evaluating Antonio Pierce and Mark Davis separately. Let me try that again. Evaluating Antonio Pierce and Tom Telesco separately. The only thing that I can take away from that is that doesn't particularly bode well for Antonio Pierce. That makes me think that everything that's happening on the field, in the practice facility, and then in between the sidelines on game day is going to go under the Antonio Pierce banner. Everything that happened with the free agents and the NFL draft and the salary cap, which is looking good right now, is going to go under the Tom Telesco banner. Now, everyone has been telling me it was Getsy and Telesco who wanted Minshew to start. And I've even maybe suggested that. I haven't said anything about Telesco. It could have been Getsy, might not have been Getsy, I don't know. But from this quote, that they're going to be evaluated separately, it makes me think there was a clear divide, not divide like in a bad way, but a clear like line. Like, you're going to do everything on the field. You're the coach. You're going to do everything off the field. You're the GM. And I think that was a clear distinction to be made after the Mike Mayock, John Gruden of it all, where it was like, John Gruden, you're going to do everything. Mike Mayock, what do you do? Okay. So, all that to say, if we're evaluating them separately, let's do it. Let's evaluate them separately. Let's talk about Antonio Pierce first. Things that he does well, right? Motivation. I do think even when guys step out of line like they do in any NFL organization, look at A.J. Brown on the current 9-game win streak. Not happy. I'm not going to get into that. I'm not an Eagles fan. All that to say, there's going to be dysfunction and turmoil in most NFL situations. This is a sport where you hit people for a living or get hit for a living. Tensions are going to be high. Antonio Pierce seems to have a good grasp of how to motivate people and to get people to buy into what he's saying. He's got people, Rudy style, trying to hand in their jersey if he doesn't get hired. Now, was that the correct decision? Whatever, doesn't matter. The point is, these guys clearly want to play for him, which I don't think I could say the same thing about our boy Josh McDaniels. What else is AP good at? I think he's a good recruiter. Like, Shedeur Sanders wants to come here. Christian Wilkins wanted to come here. Jack Jones, like, all these guys, like Brandon Ayuk at one time wanted to come here. Jaden Daniels. All these guys want to play for him, right? That's very important. Now, he surrounded himself with a bunch of people that coached before, and he tried to build this super staff. Obviously, the Cliff Kingsbury of it all didn't come to fruition. We got Luke Getsy. Didn't work out. I don't know if Antonio Pierce has much positivity going forward evaluation-wise other than the stuff that I just listed. He's still not a great game manager. Schematically, I don't know how involved he is. If he's involved with how good the defense is, then he could one day make a great defensive coordinator and still could be a great head coach one day. But as of right now, this is coming from someone who made a video with the utmost confidence in Antonio Pierce. As of right now, he's not shown to have the wherewithal to be the next Dan Campbell. Although Dan Campbell went 3-13. I get it. There's a lot of moving parts with all this. But if we're just evaluating him on this first full season as the real official head coach, and a lot of things have not gone his way, I've liked some things. I've really not liked other things. And I said this. Did I say this on Monday on Bleacher Report? I said this at some point on YouTube. I've been talking a lot about this in the Discord. You can like Antonio Pierce. By the way, join the Discord. Link is in the description below. It's free. You can like Antonio Pierce and still admit that you can do better, right? This is why, like, when you get married to somebody, it's not like this is the best I can do. Like, it's a bad thing. Like, no, this, like, if I cannot marry this guy or girl, right, I don't even want to, like, look. I don't want to live. I don't want to be with another person. Do you feel that way about Antonio Pierce? If Antonio Pierce is not your head coach, can you still root for the Raiders? Can you survive? And the answer is yes. Yeah. There are better options out there. Now, Antonio Pierce, he was born a Raider, Compton, California, did so much for us last year. There's a reason why Rich Bisaccia didn't get the job with us, whether or not it should have been Mark or Josh McDaniels who replaced him. Obviously not. There's a reason Rich Bisaccia didn't get the job with us after making the playoffs, and there's a reason why he still has not had a head coaching job. This is somebody who, when we didn't hire him, every Fox and ESPN and NBC analyst said, I can't believe the Raiders didn't hire him. This guy should be a head coach in the league. And it's been 3-4 years, and he still isn't. Interim to full-time head coach is a rarity that it ever works out. And if you're playing the odds, there are better options out there. Now, Bill Belichick might have been somebody that you were thinking about. He, I guess, is going to college. I'll believe it when I see him in the powder blue hoodie on the sideline. All that to say, look me in the eye right now. Do you really think Antonio Pierce is a better head coach than Mike Vrabel? If the answer is yes, God bless, all power to you. I would tend to disagree. And if that's the case, if Mike Vrabel is better, what are we doing? Go get him. He was teammates with Tom Brady. He was a coach of the year. He made the playoffs consistently with Ryan Tannehill. I know Derrick Henry, but with Ryan Tannehill at the quarterback position, who's good, not great. He knows how to coach. Now, Ben Johnson, you could say he could be a better head coach. I don't know. That's more risky than Vrabel. I tend to lean Vrabel because you see a lot of times coaches get second chances. Andy Reid, Bill Belichick, where they had success early, they still got fired. Andy with the Eagles, Bill with the Browns. They got second chances and bang. I'm not saying Mike Vrabel is going to be the next Andy Reid or Bill Belichick, but he's had success. The Titans want to do something different, so they went a different direction. Good luck to them. Good luck to Callahan. Antonio Pierce being evaluated separately from Tom Telesco does not bode well for him. Let's get into Tom Telesco. As far as the draft goes, in my opinion, knocked it out of the park. Now, knocked it out of the park. Like, is this one of the greatest drafts in the history of the Las Vegas Raiders? The first pick might be. The whole thing, no. We'll see. Dylan Laube has had 2 snaps and one was a fumble. D-Cam is kind of getting cooked out there, but he shouldn't be out there right now. It should be Hobbs and Bennett, and they're both hurt. Trey Taylor hasn't really played. Whatever, it is what it is. First 3 picks are very good. People calling for his head. Have you guys seen our first round picks the last however many years? And don't say like, well, Brock Bowers is obvious. Don't do that. I will go back to every comment and every other Raider YouTuber who was upset when we drafted Brock Bowers. We should have taken a left tackle. This guy is like a Hall of Famer already. He might break the single season tight end reception record. Not rookie tight ends, tight ends. DJ Glaze, I haven't heard a word about him since he started, which is the best thing you could hear about a right tackle. Nothing. The Chiefs' right tackle is getting flagged on every single play. And JPJ's had some ups, had some downs, but he's a mob boss. He's a bully. If you're going to have somebody consistently getting flagged for pushing people around, I wish it would be nobody, but if it's somebody, it should be your center. So we got to stop complaining about Tom Telesco in terms of the draft. Free agency is a different story. Now, I like the Christian Wilkins of it all. Gardner Minshew, what happened there? Did they really think he was a better option than Sam Darnold, or did they think this team is not really in position to win? We don't want to waste Sam, right? And have Sam win like 7 games. I have no idea what that was. And if he was part of the reason why he started, then he should take a serious negative for that. I don't know if he was. I don't know how much of a say the GM has in who's playing or not. This isn't Moneyball, although that is Raiders adjacent. That wasn't great. We paid Gardner Minshew technically more money, less annually, than Sam Darnold. And we'll get into Sam Darnold in a second too. But I do want to run it back with at least Tom Telesco because now he's got a lot of money. I want to see who he decides to keep of the players in-house that need extensions like Coots and Spillane and Hobbs and Merrick. We'll see what he does there. And I want to see what he can do bringing in other people. I would love to get a T. Higgins, but apparently the Patriots they're goo-goo gaga for him. So I don't want to spend too much. Najee Harris is another person that I've mentioned. Let's see who TT, don't want to call him that ever again, brings in. Let's give him another draft, especially if we have the first overall pick. This guy knows talent. So I think if you're going to evaluate them separately, Tom Telesco clearly has the advantage of keeping his job over Antonio Pierce. And I do think it's probably a lot harder to find a good GM than it is to find a good coach. So we'll see what happens. The big knock on Tom Telesco was that he overspent in specific areas, which got the Chargers into salary cap hell. Now, Chargers fans would tell me that it wasn't Tom Telesco who was in charge of the salary cap. It was some other guy. So we'll see. But as of right now, if you told me who's going to keep their job, Telesco or AP, I think it's Telesco all day. They might both keep their job, but like I said about the Vrabel thing, it's like, is Vrabel not better than AP? Like, I like AP. Thank you for what you did. But, like, if we have better options out there, what are we doing? What are we doing? Before I get into what I want to talk about next here, Mark Davis. We're going to go Mark Davis, Tom Brady, Davante, comments. Before I get into that, I need to tell you guys about the Patreon. Patreon.com/ALLaBorde Raiders. It is like a YouTube membership program because I've had people say, like, hey, we would love to donate. Why don't you live stream? It's like, I'm not really a big, like, you give me money for no reason thing. If you're going to give me $5, you should get something for it, which is why I have a Patreon. A Patreon only takes out a flat fee of 5%, I believe. YouTube takes out 40%. So if you go to the link in the description below, it's patreon.com/ALLaBorde Raiders. You get specific benefits for signing up. So for the $5 tier, you get an executive producer credit on every single one of my episodes, which is all these beautiful people right here. I just hit 25 members. Thank you so much to all those people. You get exclusive content. I've been breaking down Drew Aller and Jalen Milroe, Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders. It's all up there. You get what else do you get? Why can't I think about anything? Your name at the end of the credits. You get exclusive content. You get videos early. Hello, I'm recording this December 12th. It's not going to be up until December 13th, mid-morning. Then if you upgrade your membership, you get every video I post ad-free, and you get a monthly YouTube advisory show series where I talk about how I built this channel from the ground up. 11,000 subscribers is nothing to sniff your hat at. That's not a saying that people say. So if you could just check it out. You don't even have to sign up. Just go look. If it's not for you, don't worry about it. You're doing just enough by watching. But I would like you to check it out. Now, let's get back to Mark Davis for 1 second, because there's a quote here that I talked about. There's a misconception that I'm making a lot of decisions on the football field. I don't do that. I delegate to the people, blah, 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 blah. Mark Davis is not a bad owner. I am so sorry to burst your little bubble. And I know that, like, look at the record since he took over for his father. Yeah, look at his father's record since he traded John Gruden. Winning football games isn't easy, especially when you have a stink on your franchise. Now, has he made bad decisions? No doubt about it. I'm not here to absolve, Mark Davis for every shitty move he's made, like signing Josh McDaniels. But even that move, for example, some people absolutely did not like it. I loved it, and there was a lot of people in the league that loved it. They thought Josh McDaniels was going to be better. The John Gruden thing was a big swing. That kind of blew up in his face, and it wasn't his fault. Like, sorry, but the John Gruden thing, it was taking a while, but it was working. That year that we went 10-7, that was his team. We probably would have had a better record if he just stayed there. And obviously the Henry Ruggs of it all, like, we don't know what would have happened. Now, John Gruden wasn't a great talent evaluator, but he came in, he ripped the thing to the studs. We rebuilt. We went 4-12, 7-9, 9-7, something like that, 10-7. It was working. Mark Davis continually tries to do what's best for this organization. I understand it was hard for us to move out of Oakland. That was a big sour spot for a lot of people, but you can't deny now we've become one of the richest franchises in the league. Now, that doesn't really matter in terms of the salary cap sport that you play in. But I've heard people talk about the Oakland Raiders being sneaky poor, and now there's no whiff of that. And people say, like, well, you're in Vegas, you don't have home field advantage. You start winning games, Raider fans will show up. Look at the Charger games. They look a lot better now with Jim Harbaugh coaching them with all those powder blue jerseys in the stands. You win football games, and that's what's going to happen. Mark Davis is doing his best. He's trying to hire the right people. And this new Tom Brady co-owner thing is another example of that. He is trying to hire the right person. He tries the Dennis Allens and the Jack Del Rios. That doesn't really work. Maybe we should have held on to Jack Del Rio, but it is what it is. He tries to do the big swing with John Gruden. Okay, let me get the offensive genius like Josh McDaniels. That didn't work. Okay, you guys are mad at me. I didn't hire Rich Bisaccia. Now I'm going to go Antonio Pierce. That doesn't work. He's trying his best. He might not be the smartest guy of all time, but again, I mentioned this. Would you rather have the Browns owner who guaranteed Deshaun Watson, one of the worst quarterbacks in the league and one of the worst human beings on planet Earth, $200 million? Imagine being a Browns fan and having to watch that guy force his way onto the football field because of all the money they gave him when Jameis Winston, who was 10 times better than him, was rotting on the bench. Jerry Jeudy looks reborn. Nick Chubb is back because this guy tore his hamstring or whatever. That's the only way Deshaun Watson was not going to be able to play because the owner said, you're playing. Imagine if Mark Davis, who doesn't make great decisions, was also a meddler. Right? I'm just saying, grass is always greener. And we are so quick and easy to just completely roast him. And I get it. He's got the bull haircut, and he's not his father, and blah, blah, blah. But it's like, the guy wants to win. You can't deny that. And he's willing to put up the money for it. And he's willing to go get Tom Brady, the greatest football player to ever live, to be a voice of reason in the locker room and in the front office. You cannot deny the guy's love for the team. Again, he doesn't make the best decisions. And this is where people will say, oh, my God, you think he's so... No, dude. It can be gray, like I've always said. I know it's silver and black, but we can be a little gray here. He's not the worst owner in the league. He's trying his very best. Maybe his best isn't good enough, which is why he's like, you know what? I don't know what's going on. Tom, I need your help. I'll pay you whatever. Come in and right the ship. And I think that's good. I think that's a good move. And I don't want to continually dunk on Mark Davis. I think it's unfair and not really justified, to be completely honest with you. Which brings me to Brady. Which brings me to the draft, the Shedeur Sanders of it all. And I mentioned this a little bit in a video I made a long time ago when Brady was sniffing around being the owner. I'm not going to talk about the moronic Raider fans who are like, he's a Patriot. Tucker will get him out of this over. It's like, shut up. Grow up. This guy's the greatest football player to ever live. Of course I would want him in our organization. He could have went anywhere. He could have went to the Chiefs. He was like, nah, I'm going to fix the Raiders. I won 6 Super Bowls with the Patriots, who were dog water before I got there. Tampa Bay was irrelevant. I go there, I win a Super Bowl. Now the Raiders, another clown show circus from the outside looking in. I'm going to come in here and win another Super Bowl. If there's any doubt as to why I am football, I'm Tom Brady. I'm going to win this thing for this franchise. I'm going to be when you think of football, it's going to be Tom Brady if he pulls this off with us. And I saw a lot of Michael Jordan comparisons. Well, Michael Jordan isn't a great GM, owner, or whatever he is of the Charlotte Hornets. No doubt about it. I think the difference is, I don't know if Michael Jordan lives and breathes the game anymore like Tom Brady. Michael Jordan isn't on inside the NBA. You never see him. You see him slap Malik Monk in the head. every now and again, but that's it. Tom Brady is like all over the football field in the broadcast booth. He lives and breathes this thing. He's like Gruden, but with 7 Super Bowls. Rob Gronkowski said Tom Brady's the best talent evaluator he's ever seen. So this isn't going to be like Michael Jordan drafting whoever, signing Bismack Biyombo to an extension. This is going to be very good for us. And the idea that Mark Davis is like, yeah, he doesn't have a formal role until 2033. Dude, he's going to have a major say in what's going on, but he's not going to enforce his will. I do think he's going to let Telesco and whoever the new head coach is, Mike Vrabel, do their thing. But especially with the quarterback position, he's going to have a say, which makes me want to pull my hair out when I see people saying, we have to do this. It has to be Shador. It has to be Cam. It has to be Drew. Whatever we want to happen, the guys in the front office are going to know tenfold more than me or you. And one of us might be right. Some people are right more often than others. Who said that? Not me. At the end of the day, you need to take a deep breath and let these guys cook. Let them do their thing and trust that it's all going to work out. Because, again, I'm looking into the future, and there is a scenario where we do not take that quarterback, and there's going to be an uproar. And I would say, now watch this. If we don't take a quarterback with that first pick, something is a brewing. Something is a Boston brewing. Make sure we're hitting that sub button. We're about halfway through here. We're going to get into Davante. And then we're going to get into comments. I just realized now I don't have on the train, off the train. Little segment I do if you're new. Because that's usually for the Wednesday show. So we'll get back to that on Wednesday. But make sure we're getting those comments in, questions or not, because I'm going to pick some of those out to read on the Wednesday show. So get those in. And hit that subscribe button. I know I said that 100 times. I'm going to say it a little bit more. RaidersBeat.com. Davante Adams was coddled in Las Vegas. I have so much to say about this. I'm going to read this article without trying to make a face. Here we go. Davante Adams has been away from the Raiders since the middle of October. God, that seems like 10 years ago. But 2 months has not been enough time to slow down his talking about his time in Las Vegas. Okay, wait, real fast. This isn't, I promise you, this is not going to be me defending Davante Adams. This is not going to be that. But it's like, oh, he keeps talking about him. It's like, well, he's on a talk show where they keep asking him kind of about it, right? It's not like he's like live streaming on Instagram, right? With guns, Damon Arnett style. Like, Raiders stink. Like, he is like on a sports show. So it's like, why does he keep talking about the Raiders? It's like, well, because he's like on like a sports talk show and he was on the Raiders and they suck and the Jets suck now too. Like, what else are you gonna talk about? However, I'm gonna roast him right now. Here's the quotes. It's really frustrating, but it was the right thing to do, Adams said on the Up and Adams show this week about his decision to leave the Raiders for the Jets. It made sense. Nobody can look at this move and say, it made more sense for me to stay in Vegas in that situation if I was there. If they do, they just hating. I'm not, that's what it said. There's no G, and there's a little, and just talking like they do. Okay, first of all, Davante. How do I say this? Next year, if you're still on the Jets, Aaron Rodgers is not going to be your quarterback. Okay? I don't know who it's going to be. Geno Smith? That would be funny. It's not going to be that. Next year, our quarterback's going to be Shador Sanders, Cam Ward, Drew Aller, or Sam Darnold, right? Or Jalen Milroe, right? All of those options are better than what you're going to have in New York. So if you plan on retiring after this season and wanted one last ride with Aaron Rodgers, sure, I guess the better move would be to go to the Jets and see what happens. No one thought you were going to be this bad in New York. I'm not going to lie to you. I didn't think you'd be this bad. But no one thought you were going to win the Super Bowl. So to say this was the right move for my career, let's continue to read. If you look at the numbers, he continued, it's like if you go... This is so funny. If you look at the numbers, he continued, it's like if you're going to war. I thought we were looking at the numbers. Now we're in Call of Duty. And somebody's saying you got a knife and everybody else got rifles. And then somebody finds a rifle and they hand you a knife. Where's the numbers? I'm still waiting to look at the numbers. So you start going and you go to shoot the rifle and it jams. That's like, I should have just kept the knife. No, you did the right thing by grabbing the rifle. It just didn't work the way you intended to. Sometimes that happens and you go and you got to go live with that. Okay, let's break down this analogy. So he's in war, okay? Okay, Davante Adams is in war. He's in the front lines. He's in Vietnam. And he's got a knife. He's like, I'm going to kill you. And then someone comes up to him and goes, here, I got this gun. Here's this gun. So he takes okay, I'm going to take the gun. Here's the jets. I'm going to shoot it. Oh, it jammed. Would I rather have the knife? Yeah, probably. I'd rather have the weapon that's guaranteed to work. At that point, like with hindsight, would you rather have the rifle that jammed or would you rather have the knife? And where are the numbers that he talked about? This is really funny. This is really funny. Also, the person who gave you the rifle, did he tell you it could jam? Did he tell you this might not go well? And the knife, yeah, it's a knife. It's not great, but it's still a knife. Like maybe the person that gave you that information was wrong, right? Aaron Rodgers. Look, I don't want to criticize Aaron Rodgers' intelligence. God forbid I would do that. I would never do that, Aaron. I know that's like you can question his football, but to question his intelligence, a guy that didn't graduate from college, one of my favorite quarterbacks in the league, but that's just a fact. Anyway, I'm still waiting for the numbers, Davante. Okay, Sports Illustrated insider Hondo Carpenter talked about the dynamic this week and said Adams has begun to alienate himself in the league in some way with his talking points around the Raiders. The quote is, people don't really spend a lot of time worried about the fans, but they do care about other players in the league and what they think of them. And I can tell you that every time Davante opens his mouth, he's alienating people who are in this league that no longer respect him. I got his comments sent to me from someone in the NFL. I'm not going to say who or what team, but I do think it wouldn't be too difficult to figure out what team it was coming from. So either the Raiders or the Packers. Carpenter continued, in my opinion, he was coddled in Las Vegas. He came in, the alleged superstar, yada, 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 got treated like gold, and even when he didn't treat the organization like gold or his teammates like gold, he was treated great. Looking ahead, this is not a quote, this is the end of the article. Adams is all but guaranteed to enter free agency after the season if he doesn't agree to rework his contract. Well, why would he agree to rework it? Because he's on the books for $35 million in 2025 and 2026. And based on his production, he isn't worth half that at this stage in his career. Maybe Adams will follow Rodgers to a new city, but you can bet all your money that the city isn't going to be Las Vegas. This really brings me to my ultimate talking point about Josh Jacobs. Whoa. Why are we talking about Josh Jacobs? Here's why. Josh Jacobs, we offered him the same amount of money to stay. He went to the Packers. He took a couple shots to the Raiders. Like, nothing crazy, right? It wasn't like this, but he said some things about the Raiders. Okay, it is what it is. You're a young kid. You probably say something now that 10 years from now, you'd be like, ugh, why did I say that? I'm going to look back at things. I'm going to be editing this video and be like, ugh, why did I say that 10 minutes ago? Or 10 minutes into the future. Josh Jacobs went from a team like us, who was and clearly worse than to the Green Bay Packers, who have done nothing but win since I've been alive. So he's got every right to be like, look, the Raiders wish you well. The fans wish you well. I'm going to go over here and make the playoffs every year in my career. Peace. Davante is acting as if he pulled this Davante Adams thing. It's like, yeah, I did the right thing. It's like, dude, you have one more win. Aiden O'Connell might be better right now than Aaron Rodgers. And Aiden O'Connell stunk against the Bucs. He looked like Aaron Rodgers. So I don't want to lump Jacobs' nonsense with Davante Adams because Jacobs made the right move. He wants to win football games. Maybe he took less money of this, whatever. He's like, dude, Jordan Love, Romeo Doubs, Jalen Reed, Tucker Kraft, Matt LaFleur. Let's do it. I'm in. Davante was like Aaron Rodgers. Okay. Give me the rifle. Oh, it's jammed. These guys are not in the same stratosphere in terms of decisions that they made and things they're allowed to say. Jacobs hasn't said anything that bad, and he's kind of justified right now. Davante, let's talk about the numbers, and then goes on a rant about war. Not a rant, but you know what I mean. That was a nightmare quote by Davante, and all-time funny. And look, he wanted to play with Derek, and they got rid of Derek. It's like, okay, if you stayed here, Aaron would have came here next year. Whatever. Is what it is. Now, he probably didn't support Gardner Minshew starting. I get it. That would kind of piss me off. It is what it is. Nothing but respect for Gardner, but please don't play for my team again. Okay, so that's all the topics, but we're going to get into some comments now. And, we got some absolute freaking bangers. Like I said, comment away. Comment away because I'm going to read them. And I'm going to talk about them. Oh, wait, I opened the same one up twice. Stand by because I have 2 comments here open, but I need to open a third. Where is the third comment? It's right here. Okay, got it. The first comment comes from Nightmare Raider, but that's KNIGHT. If we're going to spend, I'm assuming in the offseason, it needs to be on both O and D line. Bring back the silver and black walls of Raider lore. Love it. Didn't think about this. Now we've got our center of the future and our right tackle of the future. The guard situation is Jordan Meredith and who's our guard? Dylan Parham. We gotta start talking about Colton Miller. Love you. You've been one of the best left tackles in the league since you've been in the league. We've come a long way from that rookie year where you were getting absolutely rocked and socked. He started to deteriorate physically, and that's not great for any quarterback, but really not great for a potential rookie quarterback. We need to find our left tackle of the future. Now, maybe it's DJ Glaze. Maybe we start him at right, move him to left, which means we have to find the next right tackle. Whether that's free agency, I wouldn't hate signing a free agent. It's just I don't feel like watching a rookie quarterback with a rookie left tackle or rookie right tackle if you move Glaze to the left. I would like to get somebody of note and somebody that kind of knows what they're doing with that position already. With all that being said, I think it's a great point, Nightmare Raider, to talk about spending on the line because that is very important. Andre James, see ya. You were okay, but goodbye. Spending money on the D-line, I don't know how many more funds we can allocate to that. If we have Christian Wilkins, we keep Adam Butler because he's been a nice little story this season. You've got Crosby. You've got Kayson, who's been okay. Snowden, I don't want to talk about it. Actually, let's talk about it real quick. DUI, please, guys, if anybody's watching, do not do that. Call anybody. Call the cops. They will drive you somewhere. Do not do that. It's stupid. I've lost people to car accidents. It's ridiculous. If I can get through to one person, please do not drink and drive. Sorry, not to bring it down here, but it is what it is. Raiders, whatever. Kuntz. Kuntz is a big question mark. I wouldn't break the bank for him. I do trust him to be good. I do. I wouldn't break the bank for him, especially with the way Tyree's been okay this season. I wouldn't break the bank, but if he wants to sign kind of a prove-it-ish deal, maybe we tag him. That would be crazy to tag him. I want to bring him back. But it's a great point by Nightmare Raider to want to spend on both lines. I think offensive line and specifically left tackle would be the way to go. Okay. Comment number 2. Raider Gabe, 1215. I don't pick these guys because their name's Raider. I don't even read the names until right now. So this could have been like some horrific, heinous name. But it's not. My first choice would be Vrabel as head coach and Josh McCown as OC. I've been talking a lot about Josh McCown. Now, did you say that because I said it? Not to say that like, I'm going to copy him, but like, did you have McCown in mind before I brought him up? By the way, Josh McCown, quarterback coach of the Vikings. Maybe we bring in Darnold with his boy, Josh McCown. Don't hate it. I love Josh McCown. I love him. His second choice would be Ben Johnson as head coach and Robert Saleh as DC. Now, that would be great, and it brings me to this point. about hiring new staffs or letting Ben Johnson pick his new staff or getting a new OC or a DC or whatever. I really like the idea of getting former head coaches to be the coordinators. And the best example of that is Mike Tomlin and Arthur Smith. Arthur Smith, coach of the Falcons, didn't really work out. Steelers offense, kind of right? Kind of Russell Wilson, Justin Fields, what are we doing? We don't have a real number one wide receiver. Hey, Arthur Smith, can you whip something up? Yeah, sure. Bang. They're in line to get the 2 seed maybe in the AFC. Bills play the Lions this week. Bills lose that game. Chiefs are the 1 seed. Steelers are the 2 seed. I think you got to do your best. Cliff Kingsbury, former head coach, OC. You got excuse me. I'm allergic to Cliff Kingsbury. You got to do your best to find that head coach that wants to prove I could still be a head coach in this league. So I'm going to go to the Raiders and be the best OC or best DC in the league. Now, if Ben Johnson's your head coach, he's your OC, which means Saleh as a DC would be awesome. Saleh feels like a Raider. I don't like saying that in terms of like he feels like a Raider, so he should be the guy. Sorry, AP, I love you, but like that's not enough. Saleh is also a great defensive mind. The second he got fired, the Jets defense was like, actually, we're bad. How did that happen? It's a great point by Raider Gabe. Robert Saleh, don't sleep on the kid. Not as the head coach, but also he's not a kid. No, I don't mean to disrespect you, Robert. Here's the last comment. It's a long one, but we're going to read it. Paulie Claire 2141. Shout out to you. Fresno State Bulldog maybe in the profile. Let me take a deep breath because this is a long one. He or she says, it's so funny, comma. What you are saying is exactly what I've been saying for weeks. Wow, isn't that crazy? And he says, or she says, I would go Travis Hunter or Abdul Carter with the first pick, and then Aller in the second round, and then sign Darnold. Now, the reason I've been saying Aller is because I'm a Penn State guy. I do think he's a good prospect, but this could be Milroe as well. 100% a better way to go than drafting Shedeur or Ward. If you look at all the elite quarterbacks, they have elite athletic traits. Shedeur doesn't have that. And a little shot at Shedeur. I think he's a sneaky athlete, but he's not an elite athlete. He might have an elite mind, though. Let's keep that in mind. Aller does, he says. He actually has Josh Allen's body, 6'5", 235, and the best arm in college football. Don't disagree. Maybe him or Cam Ward. I don't know. We'll see. His ceiling is so much higher than Sanders and Ward. 100% this is the way to go. And by the way, Hondo Carpenter has reported that the Raider scouts are talking a lot about linebackers. Abdul Carter is technically listed as an edge or an outside linebacker, so they may be looking at him. Also been saying the same thing you said about coaches. Love AP, but in what world is he better than Mike Vrabel? See, so I did say this before. Come on. Vrabel is a professional head coach who knows how to do the job. AP is learning on the job. It isn't even close. Okay. I wanted to bring this up, not to toot my own horn and to say, oh, this guy's so smart because he thinks I'm smart. When I do the Bleacher Report live streams, and look, this isn't me complaining about the comments. When I was like, it bounces off me, it literally does. You got to be built a certain way to be able to read comments on YouTube, and it does not matter to me at all. I understand that people, whether they wish themselves to be on Bleacher Report, or it's just like vitriolic internet, whatever. Bleacher Report comments are kind of rough. And if you think I have it rough, look at other people. Like, it is bad for other people because I don't get like crazy amounts of views. People who get a lot of views on Bleacher Report get just roasted and toasted. And, you know, when I do these live streams on Bleacher Report, I do topics, and then somebody that works for Bleacher Report takes out little clips and says, this might be, you know, a good engaging video. We'll put that out there separately. So one of the things that they did was they took me discussing, should we take Travis Hunter with the first pick and then Aller or Milroe with the second pick, or go Shedeur Sanders? And they said, you know, the title was Draft Evaluation Strategy for the Raiders, why the Raiders shouldn't take a quarterback with their first pick. Now, that wasn't my magnum opus thesis that they shouldn't take somebody. I was simply posing the question. And, of course, people see that and go, this guy's moronic. How can you not take Shedeur Sanders with the first pick in the draft? You have the first pick. How do you not take a quarterback? And I suggested Sam Darnold, and people are like, what are you talking about? Let me ask you a question. Sam Darnold right now plays for what team? The Minnesota Vikings, right? What's their record? 11-2. The Vikings took J.J. McCarthy with the 11th pick in the draft, who was supposed to be their future franchise quarterback. And they were like, you're going to sit here. Sam Darnold's going to be the guy for a year. They are 11-2. So for me to suggest, hey, what if we just did what they did? Because they're 11-2. Stash a QB, best player available. Right? People go like, well, Sam Darnold has a great OC. All right, well, let's get one of those. Ben Johnson could be the next Kevin O'Connell. Josh McCown, who was his quarterback coach. Let's get him in here with Sam Darnold. Well, he's thrown to Justin Jefferson. Well, we have Brock Bowers. Is that really crazy for me to say Brock Bowers is on the same level impact-wise as Justin Jefferson? No. Well, they have Jordan Addison. Jacoby Myers might have 1,000 yards this season. We have the weapons for Sam Darnold to be successful. They are 11-2. And now they're like, should we trade J.J. McCarthy? Like, this is not rocket science. I'm simply suggesting, what if we took a quarterback in the second round a la Derek Carr and let him learn under Darnold for a few years? The guy who might lead the Vikings to a division win with the Lions in it, with the Packers in it, with the Bears in it, oh my. Is that the craziest suggestion of all time? Now, I know people watching here who have like normal brains are going to be like, no, we could maybe do that. And I get the love for Shedeur Sanders because it's such an easy thing to love somebody who loves you back. Right? What is one of the most attractive qualities in a person? When they like you, you're like, I kind of like them now. Right? Especially if on paper, they're everything you might want. But what if you can do better if you just give it a little more time? There is maybe a world in which we draft Shedeur and still sign Sam Darnold. The only reason I might not want to do that is because you can get an all-time prospect like Travis Hunter. And the reason why Sam Darnold, or one of the reasons, other than his fantastic play and his development as a quarterback, is playing so well is because that roster is great. So let's build up this freaking roster. That's all I'm saying. Now, if Tom Telesco and Tom Brady and whoever the coach is says Shedeur Sanders is our franchise quarterback, then let's do it. That's where like the Bleacher Board thing was like, this guy thinks we shouldn't draft a quarterback. It's like, I didn't say that. If we do it, I'm in. I'll be more hyped than anybody else. Shedeur to Brock. Let's go. Let's freaking go. Tom Brady. I'm just simply saying, like, look at the Vikings. Literally look at them. What if we did that? What if we were the Bucs next year? Scrapped our way to 9 wins, made the playoffs, but instead of being the Bucs with no succession plan, we do have ALLaBorde there, who's got a massive ceiling, whose stock shot up to the rooftops after that championship game. And I had people in the Discord, I think I made a bet with somebody that said he wasn't going to be a first-round pick. They're sweating bullets. He will absolutely be, at the bare minimum, a top 5 pick in the second round. I don't know, man. It's just simply a suggestion. The Vikings are 11-2. To be like, oh, we shouldn't do what they did. It's like, really? They're about to like walk to 14 wins. I don't know. Just throwing it out there. Just throwing it out there. Thank you so much for watching this. This was a long one. This was a banger, but I had a lot of energy because we're post-flu era. Post-flu era. What else? Leave comments. Drop likes. Hit that subscribe button. Join the Patreon if you'd be so kind of even check it out. That would be awesome. Also, let me know if you got to the end of this video. That's what I want to do. Comment below, I made it to the end. I want to see, okay, here's what we'll do. At the end of every video, I'm going to give you a suggestion. Movie, music, I'm making this up right now. Lawrence, the band, ever heard of them? I'm listening to them. They're not new, but they're starting to get a little more popular. They're sick. I want you to comment that you heard me suggest that you should listen to them if you made it to the very end of this video. That would be awesome. I want to see who makes it to the very end. Please be sure to subscribe. It's free after on the charge too. I love you guys. And I'll see you next time. Ooh. How long was this? Wait, I want to see how long this was. This was 50 minutes long. Not bad, kiddo.